last time on Dragon Ball Z.
We have our next character.
Oh my gosh.
Our next actor.
I can't wait.
He is the other opposing force that pulls Batman in a different direction, and that is Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright did fantastic as Commissioner Gordon. I think he wants justice.
He's by the books.
Yes. He's like, we're gonna do it the right way or no way at all. Like there's no veering off to a different path.
Well, actually, he does have a little bit of a looser vibe with Batman.
Well, yeah, definitely.
He does let him get away with certain things.
Because he knows what Batman really stands for. He wants, like, okay, so, and this is actually, this kind of plays in the character stuff. Is Batman has Commissioner Gordon for the righteous way. This is where we're gonna go. This is the books. Then you have Selina Kyle, Catwoman, more on the vigilante, edgier side of like, oh, we're gonna do the things that we think it's right.
Yeah, that we want to do.
But we're gonna do it in our way. The same way Commissioner Gordon is more lenient towards Batman. Commissioner Gordon is using Batman as a scapegoat for the ways that he can't do the law or enforce the law, more into the vigilante side. So it's a two-way street here. Like Batman is using him as the righteous way, but Gordon is using Batman as the vigilante way of the, listen, I can't do these things because I have a reputation. I am the commissioner of this precinct. I have to keep everything by the books. So I'm going to use you as the way of, if you have to get rough with somebody, do it, because I can't do it, because I'm someone who is being upheld by a certain standard, and I have to be the right way, by the books. But for you, Batman, you're the way that I can't enforce the law. And it kind of bounces off of each other. So,
and Selina Kyle has a similar way,
yeah,
but in the other direction towards the vigilante.
Yes.
She's pulling him in that direction, but at the same time, he's trying to pull her in his direction more towards a neutrality.
It's insane. Oh my gosh, that writing is,
it's brilliant.
fantastic.
It's really brilliant.
Like, it's just, so Batman is neutral, right? Batman is neutral. Commissioner Gordon is the righteous way, and then Selina Kyle is the vigilante way. So he's being pulled by two different forces, but he has to make the decision of what's gonna benefit not just us three, but what's gonna benefit Gotham, like what's gonna benefit the citizens who can't defend themselves. And Batman has to make the choice, and he kind of did. He kind of did when with that shot that we were talking about, when he was leading everybody down the.
We'll talk about that when we get to it.
That just blew my mind.
Right? I'm gonna kick myself when I see what his name is.
J.K. Simmons.
Wait, no, that's from Ben Affleck.
Oh.
That's from the
I
Snyder
like.
films.
Yeah, no.
And granted, he is a good Commissioner Gordon too.
I like his a lot.
Really?
I do.
I don't think we got enough of his to really warrant like hit. That's Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman was good. Gary
Oldman was damn good. And honestly, Jeffrey Wright, I feel like was just as good. Just different. Because again, Gary Oldman's like Commissioner Gordon. He was sticking by the books to do things, while he used Batman to kind of go out there and do what he couldn't. But the way Commissioner Gordon was played in the Nolan trilogy was sort of like he didn't really want to know about any of that stuff. While in this newer form, Jeffrey Wright was okay with knowing because he wanted to be there also to get the information. He was okay with seeing what they will do, but also because he was
dumb.
there. He wasn't dumb. He was there to sort of influence them from going too far.
He knew what was going on. Like, he knew what was going on. He understood what was going on. But he also was like, yo, bring it back. Wait, don't. You're crossing a line. So he wasn't dumb. He wasn't like, oh, I don't want to know anything because then I'm going to be at fault with it. He knew what he was getting into.
And honestly, I felt like he was the way that he is because of all of the different officers that were around him, all of the different influences, which most of them were very obviously corrupt and just weren't willing to do what was like they were just trying to hide, basically cover for themselves, cover their own asses.
Yeah.
rather than actually being cops. And there was very few of them around him, which he kept around him all the time. Like this one officer Martinez,
Yeah.
a sweet young officer who's just trying to be a great officer, and he does the same thing. He like when he has that one, he has a moment, a scene towards the end with Batman, just him and Batman talking, and the whole time with Batman, he's been a little bit sort of on the fence, but then he gets this quiet moment with Batman where he barely even says anything to him. He's mostly doing the talking, but it's like he's getting this sort of sense out of him that he means well, and he's not there to cause any harm. So when he does start wrecking up the scene, he's like, hey, wait, okay, I see what you're doing there. But he was fantastic, and I feel like Gordon was a strong influence on why he was one of those kinds of characters, because Gordon placed himself with people who were trustworthy. Even in a time when nobody is.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of trustworthy, because I love this guy with all my heart.
He's been phenomenal when you can't see his face and when you can.
Listen, Andy Serkis as Alfred. I absolutely loved Andy Serkis as Alfred because it's a different twist to the Alfred character, but yet it felt kind of real and more grounded and more closer to the comic books character.
Depending which one you're talking about.
Oh yeah, of course. There are certain like character versions of Alfred where Alfred is a badass. Like he may seem frail, he may seem like he can't really do much, but if you really think about it, yes, he can. There was one version of Alfred that trains Batman to have different fighting styles and all of that. I feel like if Andy Serkis had the opportunity in this movie, I'm pretty sure that this iteration of Alfred would have taught this Batman, since this Batman is younger. He would have.
Actually, speaking of that, he does reference at one point that he did have to teach him how to fight.
Oh yeah.
A very beautiful and touching scene between both Andy Serkis and Robert Pattinson. We won't say too much, but it does involve them being in a hospital, and it is a sweet moment.
It's so touching, and it makes you tear up. It's like, damn, Alfred's his man. Alfred is his man. He's his guardian angel. He's legit the one who was there after Bruce's parents died. And I love the part where he feels guilty at the fact that his parents died under his watch. Because in this version, you can kind of say that this Alfred was their bodyguard.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to protect them, and now they're gone, and now he has to look after Bruce and protect him from anything like that.
This is Whitney Houston. This is Kevin Costner. 92's the bodyguard. Come on.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. But yeah, just I really love Alfred. Andy Serkis is always a treasure. He was fantastic as Claw, Ulysses Claw, in Black Panther.
So unique, going from something like that over to something like Alfred.
It's weird because you can tell he was having so much fun as Ulysses Claw in Black Panther. And even in Age of Ultron, like you can tell he was having so much fun because he's just a wild character in the comics. And then he comes over here and just is stoic and so like wise, and he's careful with Bruce and everything he does with Bruce. And then you have on the other side, he's like, he doesn't care what he does. Like he in Black Panther, spoilers if you haven't seen Black Panther, which I'm pretty sure you have or haven't. If you haven't, please.
It's a 4-year-old film.
He literally shoots somebody while he's running away. He's like, here, go on. I'll give you a head start. Go, don't tell anybody. He's like, don't tell anybody. And then he, like, the guy runs away, and his character just shoots him. Like, he doesn't care. It's fantastic.
But to be honest, that's one thing that was so brilliant about his character as Ulysses Claw. It was unnecessary, but at the same time, it was so necessary because he wanted to make the scene look messier.
Yeah.
So that they look less professional.
Yeah.
And that's one thing he does extremely well. Even when he's playing a character one way, he has a subtle nuance to him that shows a different side of him. Mm-hmm. And he's very stern and serious in this movie, but you can tell there's a side of him that's very caring and very open. Yeah. With Bruce, specifically with Bruce.
Mm-hmm. He goes from badass to caregiver or caretaker immediately, and it's amazing. This next character is kind of a spoiler. So
Well, we could save him for the last of the characters. We
That's
can,
very
we can
true.
move over
That's
to the
very
next
true.
ones.
all right, so we'll leave him for the last part. So, John Turturro,
Torturo.
Turtle,
Jesus.
Black Jesus,
No, Jesus from the Big Lebowski.
Black Jesus. Anyways,
Yeah. But he was phenomenal. Like,
yes,
one thing about him is he's rarely the main character, so he finds different ways of shining as a supporting character. And he can be fun and silly. Like, what was his name? He was an agent of Sector 7 in Transformers. So silly. He's just so weird. You remember the first couple Transformers movies? He played that agent who had issues with the Transformers, and then one of them ends up peeing on his head.
Oh yeah.
So silly. He's got silly little sides like that, and that's not a serious character whatsoever.
No, not
but
at
he's
all.
extremely memorable, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
got, just like in the Big Lebowski, Jesus, the bowling player who's always licking his balls.
What do you mean by that?
When you watch the Big Lebowski, you'll see.
Okay. All right.
But
That's
he's
out of context.
phenomenal. He's phenomenal. And then you've got darker sides to him, or more complex sides. Like you've got
Like
one
this one.
in this one, and in 95's Barton Fink. Like his range is all over the place. But what he does with Carmine Falcone,
Oh man,
he
I
was
hated him.
scary in a different
Yes.
way. His very
Yes.
first scene with Zoe Kravitz in the club when she's leaving and he's coming in.
Oh yes.
Like, you barely see his face. Most of the time, you just see her looking at him. But his presence, like, he has this twisted darkness to him that you
don't wanna
wanna
mess
be,
with.
You don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with it because if not, ooh, it's gonna. Ooh, like I felt intimidated by him many times in the film. Like, holy crap! Like, he's the silent type. Like obviously he'll talk and he'll make his presence known, but a lot of times he doesn't have to say much. Like when he got everybody out of when Bruce finally came to him to find out the truth, and he got everybody out in the room, he was just like, "Guys, give me a minute," and it's like, "Oh," and everybody did not say anything. They just left because they knew like he's that type of character. Like, okay, this guy has more to him than what his appearance is, because in his appearance he's a tall, scrawny man, but his presence is very well known.
His presence is everything.
It's great, and I just love how I love the ending or close to the ending when he was like choking out Selena Kyle.
Oh, that was intense.
And he's like, "You're making me do this." I'm like,
my own flesh
Yeah.
and blood.
he's like, "You're making me do
Which,
this."
again, spoiler alert,
Obviously.
but that was also a part of the comics as well. Some
Yeah.
of the newer
Yeah,
comics.
it's just he blames everybody else for their own actions, and he's like, "You're making me do this because you're acting this way. You don't want me to
Just-
act like this."
Just like your mother.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was harsh.
Oh my gosh.
That
And
was harsh when he said that.
And he's just, man, the way he said that, he's responsible for his own actions, yet he tries to blame everybody else for provoking him, for pushing him. But realistically, he's the one who's making these decisions by himself. And I think that's a really weird trait, but also very intimidating, because it's like, I don't want to do this to you, bro. I don't want to hurt you, but you're making me hurt you. Now I have to hurt you just so you can know your place, just so you can understand who I really am. And that's
someone you don't want to mess with.
at all. Like, it's like, please don't push me. Please don't push me. I'm telling you, don't push me. Now you're pushing me. Now you're making me act like this. Now I have to show you who I really am. That's insane. And there are times where I'm like that too, but I'm very calm.
And this is another thing, like, it's not very advertised, so this is a bit of a spoiler as well. But as much as the Riddler is advertised to be the main villain, it's kind of Carmine Falcone.
Yeah.
He is the mastermind behind all of the misery that has been happening for the past 20 plus years.
Yeah.
When it's revealed that not only was the reporter that was spying on Thomas Wayne and his wife working for Carmine Falcone, but that so was Thomas Wayne, and that Thomas Wayne asked him to get rid of that photographer, which it's again, I believe, what was his name? From Screen Crush,
Erie.
Ryan Erie.
Yes.
Ryan Erie from Screen Crush. I believe he's the one who actually pointed out that it's not stated directly in the film, but it is hinted at that the reporter who was trying to oust Thomas Wayne is actually the father of Edward Nash, of the Riddler. And now it's not stated directly, but because of the events that Carmine Falcone had of him working under him so he can dig up this dirt on Thomas Wayne, and then Thomas Wayne asking him to take care of the reporter, not knowing that he would actually kill him.
Yeah.
And then because of that, Thomas Wayne was like, okay, I'm going to reveal the truth to everything, about everything. And that very same night is killed by possibly Carmine Falcone,
Yeah.
or possibly the Maronis, or just some random thug.
Yeah.
But the fact that Carmine Falcone was connected to all of those deaths happening basically back to back, and he is the cause of the Riddler becoming who he is, and Bruce Wayne becoming the Batman.
Yep.
Like, it's insane, really. He is such a subtle villain, but when you really think of everything his character did, he is one of most understated big villains of Batman's like rogues gallery. He may not be as memorable or as out there as somebody like the Joker, somebody like the Riddler, Two-Face, but what he does was just so phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, as powerful as you are, you know, you always have to have some really good henchmen, thugs, goons, yes. And we gotta give it. We're including them in here because I feel so bad for them. I actually love them.
They were just so memorable.
They were the Club Twins. What was their first names?
This is why I told you to write it. No, I'm kidding. I believe it's Charlie Carver and Max Carver.
The Carver brothers. They were fantastic. They just every time
such minor roles, but man, they really stood out.
So whenever someone would go to the door, they would just stare at the person, and then so Bruce Wayne went there once.
No. First,
it was
Batman.
Yeah, it was Batman.
He shows up.
Batman's like, you know who I am, right? And he's like, no. So then he closes the door, and then he opens it again, and his brother's like right there. And he's like, see, I told you.
Yeah, it's so fantastic because like less than an hour in, I think it's a little bit more than half an hour past that, we get a very similar mirrored scene of Bruce Wayne going to the club.
Yeah,
and he does the same thing.
He's like, you know who I am, right? And this is Bruce talking.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And then he closes the door, and he comes back out again, and he's like, you see, I told you.
It's just so simple, but the way they did it and the fact that they're twins really made them stand out.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
And they had a third scene similar, but it didn't end the same way.
No,
it was much faster. Like by that, because you see, when the Batman part happened, they got their asses whooped.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Like basically at the third act of their performance, you just see the scars, the bandages, everything all over their faces.
Because they got beat up multiple times by different people, mostly the Batman, but also Selene Kyle's Catwoman. And it gets to the point where you see them on screen and you're like, oh, these poor guys.
Yeah, like
they're about to get their ass whipped again.
They're just doing their job. It's just funny to me. The whole closing the door, opening it back up. You see, I told you. It's fantastic. We gotta give them props. They were great, and
they really were.
I really hope they're in more things, like whether it's minor roles like that, or maybe main roles. Maybe they're really 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 great actors, and we just don't know it yet. I really hope they continue to be in more things because they were fantastic. Like I said, very memorable.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Lastly, we're gonna jump into this last performance.
It's a big spoiler.
Very big spoiler. So obviously, if you've seen the video up to now and you've ignored all the spoiler warnings, by now you've already know the plot of this whole
more or less
movie. So I don't think we need a spoiler disclaimer in here. But We have a great actor, Barry Keoghan.
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 Hogan.
Something. But,
Hulk Hogan.
But we all know him from recently. We all know him from recent work from Marvel's The Eternals, where he played Druig.
Yep.
One of the Eternals, kind of the I think they all called him the douche.
The douche. Yes.
And he was phenomenal, and he's had phenomenal work prior to all of that as well. Like he was in this fantastic like indie film called The Killing of the Sacred Deer, where he played this sort of understated, menacing character with just like some of the wow.
This man's ripped.
I had no idea he had a body like that. Yeah, we just pulled up a picture. And
we'll put it here too. But
yeah, we'll post it there for you ladies and some of you fellas too,
and us. But oh, man, he's got a body. Anyway,
but yeah, it was already reported a while ago that he would be in this film, but it was reported that he was gonna play one of the officers.
Yeah.
Turns out
it was wrong.
That's not very true now, is it?
No, not at all. He's gonna be. Hopefully, this is the sequel happens and everything, which I'm pretty sure it is.
Maybe have heard of this character before.
Maybe he is playing an unnamed Arkham Asylum inmate.
Crazy, right?
Oh, just
no one saw that one
ever.
coming.
But here's the thing: this inmate has a little bit more history than you expect.
Oh, some people just straight up call him a clown.
Very much so. And if you haven't gotten the hint by now, I really need you to get checked. But
seriously,
Joker, yes.
Yes, another Joker.
But
within the past 3 years. 3 years now? 4 years.
4 years.
A third Joker performance.
Yeah.
But
I'm actually really excited about this Joker.
Yes.
Because, Barry did a fantastic job in Eternals. He's such a douchebag.
And again, if you've never seen him in other work, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, I believe it's 2017. Phenomenal film. Very strange, but his performance is so dark and menacing.
Yeah, definitely. Just I think he would be a fantastic Joker. Everybody has their own iteration. Joaquin Phoenix is the most recent one. Oh, it's such a good movie. Obviously Heath Ledger, iconic, one of, if not the best Joker, and that's me including Joaquin Phoenix, because Joaquin Phoenix was amazing too. Oh, yeah. But Heath Ledger, I think, revolutionized the Joker character to be more psychological and a little bit less, how would I say, like jokey-ish, like less thuggish. Cheesy. That's exactly it. Because
as much as Jack Nicholson was a fantastic clown, Prince of Crime,
we do. He was very cheesy.
Very cheesy. But then again, a lot of things of older films tend to be cheesy as time goes on.
But Heath Ledger revolutionized it. Joaquin Phoenix is perfecting it, and I'm pretty sure that Barry will definitely be like amalgamation of the past two Jokers. Even the third one, even Jack Nicholson. Like, it could be all three in one. I like
how you're completely forgetting Jared Leto's Joker.
Because I actually liked his Joker.
I think I feel like
he needed more time.
Yeah, we could have used more time with him.
Jared Leto.
It was different. It was interesting.
Mm-hmm. The writing wasn't there. The timing wasn't there. It was out. Like, Joker and Batman need their own movie, like just them two, and not include every other villain in there, or at least just have Harley Quinn in there, have that relationship explored. But we don't really get, other than Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton. Yes. We haven't really, and Heath Ledger obviously, but we haven't really gotten just like a spotlight on those two in recent years. It's always
14 years since the last time that happened.
Yeah, so there's always another character, another villain that kind of takes the place, the main placeholder of the Joker, which kind of sucks because Joker itself has such rich history, especially with Batman. Like, you gotta have like that two interaction. I feel like you should definitely have.
In that sense, I would actually disagree with you.
Whoa.
I feel like we've had so much of just the specific Batman and Joker dynamic where they're the focus. He was the focus of the first, well, not the first, but the first serious live action Batman film with Batman 89. And then he was the focus to what some people still consider to this very day as the greatest superhero comic book film ever made, The Dark Knight. And both of those found different ways of focusing what their dynamic was between one another. But one thing I feel like we haven't had a chance to really see in live action film.
Robin.
No.
Nightwing.
No. No.
Okay. What, you sure?
We've had Robins, technically. But still, no.
You sure?
What I'm talking about is that we haven't actually had a live action
Oh, it's not.
opportunity. Oh my.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. Go ahead. Live action opportunity.
So anyways, it's